Greetings, Zervicepoint friends, and welcome to this week's Code Cookie. This week, I'm going to talk about table pages because that's something that a few of you have been asking about. And a table page is a Zervicepoint page where you have a table on it, and the data from the table comes from a web service script. And you can add functionality to your table page, such as edit actions, add actions. That is, if you want to add a new row to your table, and delete or remove actions. And so in this scenario, I'm going to have a user administration table view where the end user can go in and list their users from a specific path in the Active Directory and see some basic information about each and every one of all those users, and if they want to, they can update the user by clicking on them in that table page. So let's start out by taking a snuff, and we start with the page itself. Go into pages, add a page. We'll go with the user administration as identifier. Putting it on the front page for now. Choosing table. User administration. So this is the table section itself. We can add like a text box or a text block on top of it, then we can add a service list on the bottom, but we will only have a table section here. And I have prepared a data source here. I think I will find it. Yes, we can have a quick look on that. So I basically just copied the gets CP80 user from our Active Directory plugin, and I can just remove most of the code in here. And what I did was I removed a few rows, and I just did this get PF80 user, and I put an LDAP filter there which says distinguished name equals wildcard. So our objects must have a distinguished name. That's what that says. And if we look on the search base here, it's a path in our Active Directory. I know that some of the younger guys don't know what Active Directory is. So I'm just going to show you this. It's the users and computer tool for Active Directory, and Active Directory is a directory with identities and computer objects. Typically it stores the user that you have when you log into your computer. Very simplified. And I have created a test OU or a test folder here and some test users. So I want my Zervicepoint user to be able to view all these objects and be able to manage them through Zervicepoint without having this access that you need to have to manage stuff in the Active Directory. And I added a property, just description there. And here's some code to format the output. Cool. Back to work here. We can just choose to do, okay, so what did we have in the code? We actually don't care about any of the input parameters here. We just get all the users from this path. And if we look on search parameter here, we can leave it empty, or we can specify it. Well, we can test that first. Perform empty search on load. We'll do that as well. I'll go here, click here. Some kind of error. Okay. need to refresh. No results found. We'll empty that for now. Refresh. Check the event log. Oh, okay, I'm not on the VPN. I need to be on the VPN for to be able to connect to our domain controller. And I will actually do that again. Refresh this page. And now we have our basic table page. At this time we can just look at it, and it just lists all the users that we get returned through our web service. So we can start by making this a bit nicer, because perhaps we're not interested in all the fields here. Typically the object GUID is the unique identifier for an Active Directory object, so we're going to use that as the identifier for the row. You'll soon get what I mean. Choose to add columns here, so we specify the columns to get just the columns we want. Set this as identifier, and the property name is the actual property name as it comes back from the web service, and we can see what these are by looking here at the table headers. But I choose to rename this to GUID just for fun, and we take surname, that's last name. Let's go ahead and take first name as well. I think that's called given name in Active Directory. What else? Maybe we want the SAM account name as well. SAM account name. SAM. We just call it SAM. First name, medium. Maybe enabled as well, so we can see if the user account is enabled. And description. We'll make that large. We save, we refresh. Okay, so that looks pretty good, except most of them don't have a description. So if I were to go into Active Directory, I could edit the description by doing this. Vice President of Admin and stuff. And I refresh here. You can see that we get that in here as well, which perhaps is very natural. Okay, so we want to add actions to this. Let's say that you want to be able to change the description from Zervicepoint. Then we need to add an action for our table page. So we go to add edit action, because we want to edit the row, and then we get prompted to select a service here. Fine, we don't have a service, so we need to create an edit service. I go back here, I choose to create the service, edit AD user. And we go into the form. We don't actually, we need to do some stuff. I can just prepare and explain this afterwards. Something like that. and we go back to the page, and we put our edit action on there. Refresh, and now you see that all the rows are linked. So I can click on this row and we get a modal with the service that we have selected, but there is no real connection between these two. And if this was the 90s, I would say this is where the magic happens and point towards my bedroom, but this is 2020, so I'm just going to silently continue into the service. And so the magic is the variable called system object ID. So if I bind a field a field to this variable, that field will contain the row's ID once it gets selected in a table page. Let me show you. Oops. So this is a hidden field. Save and publish. Refresh. And actually first we're going to edit this JavaScript. So we're gonna just type out what this variable contains, or what this field contains. I refresh, take up the console, and there's the value. So that's the object GUID, because remember we selected, if we look on the table page again, we selected to have the object GUID as identifier here. So if I were to choose something else here, we will get that as the identifier. Good, so now we can do something with that. We're back on the service. So I want to show the basic information about this person. Given name, first name. Let's bind that to a variable. We can do it read only because we don't want them to be able to change the name. Last name, read only. And let's go description. Large. So we want to do something with the value now. We want to unfortunately we can't send the row as an object to this service yet. So what we have to do is we need to take that unique identifier and call a web service to retrieve that information for us again, and then use it to populate the fields in the service. And perhaps we'd like to use this service as a standalone service as well. And I think we'll come back to that in a different video. For now, I'm just going to do a web service call to retrieve this person. And I'm just going to call a get CP AD user, and I want to have the description as well. So I need to specify the property to do that. Let's do this for testing. Looks okay. Save, publish, refresh. Click here. Replace. Okay. Something wrong there. There came. Oh yeah, I don't have a web service yet. I need to add it. Okay, and here we have the response from the web service. So all we need to do now is map out all these attributes to our fields. Let's do that. And we can actually make everything spin as well directly here. And if you want everything to spin, you can do this. Loading user information. True. And actually just say always as well. Oh, we can do that afterwards. Cool. And now potentially I could change here and submit the order, but since we don't have a workflow yet, nothing would happen. Well, if I go back here, we can just fix that real quick. And we used our Active Directory plugin, and we used the set ZP AD user, and we specify the identity, which is the user that we want to update, and we can reuse that variable that we used to look up the user before. And if we just want to fiddle with description, we do that here, and we map it to the variable that we had in the form. And we can save and publish there. That. Something else, yeah. We can take. I know in the previous videos where I showed some web service calls, I did not show this, and I want to show it because I think it's a real good thing to do. That is, you can have a fail function specified and an always function specified. So the always function will be called always after done, and fail will be run if some kind of exception occurred in here. So I'm just going to tell everything to stop spinning always after it's done. Let's see if it works. No. It didn't work. Let's see if we even get in here. Oh, I saw the fault. We have spin set to true with empty second argument. And I write true again. Same publish, and now we should get the desired behavior. There. And if I'd like to, I can just place this order, and that person will be updated later. So something that we're thinking about implementing is that we want to lock this row now until that order has been provisioned correctly. Because now you can see an update on it, and you could potentially click it again and send another request. So hopefully we'll implement that in the near future. And that's it for this week. And thank you for watching, and stay tuned for next week's cookie.